Good morning. This is Joe Scarice, your mortgage lending specialist and host of the Real Estate Niches podcast, along with my co-host, our social media strategist, Yardell Perkins of Perkins. And we are happy to announce we have provided close to 1,000 educational workshop and podcasts over the past 24 months, providing education, networking, and creating opportunities via the podcast. And we're currently at 500,000 impressions on Google. We also are close to 700 to 800 downloads a month in regards to our educational podcasts. And what the most important thing is we're going bigger and better with the podcast now. We're really excited about having some of the people that we're interviewing because we're getting more to the pulse of real estate strategies as the market corrects itself following the pandemic. And today we have Janis Benstock, the broker of Settle Down Philadelphia, which is based out of Philadelphia, and the office is also in Ocean City, New Jersey. And we're going to be discussing Start a Fling with Success. Janis, good morning. Welcome to Real Estate Niches. And give a little introduction to yourself and a little background on yourself to get started.
Sure. So I call myself a real estate nerd because I kind of just do all things real estate. And I've been in the business a long time, and when I first started out, a fun fact is that I was nervous about selling houses because I didn't know how to finance them. So I went and got a job as a loan officer and a real estate agent at the same time. So because I have that background in mortgage financing, I'm really comfortable helping people become investors. So that's sort of the niche where I went along in my real estate business. And then I opened up my brokerages and I started teaching. So I also really help real estate agents build their own business in an organic way rather than a cold calling and salesy kind of way. So I cover kind of all the aspects as far as real estate goes.
I wish more real estate agents had financing backgrounds. They understand the tribes and tribulations of the process, but I am really glad to know now you have background in financing, and that probably separates you from the rest of the herd, in my opinion. So we're going to get right into the questions. And what is the most common challenge for agents that you coach today?
Number one, straight up, is how to get clients. That's what they don't teach you in real estate school. And I teach the real estate courses, and I always do a survey at the beginning of each session and ask people, how many of you are here because of HGTV? And at least half of the people that raise their hands in class are there because of HGTV. And that does not give a realistic impression of what our industry is like. It's a reality show, or, it's all edited. And so getting clients is something that oftentimes people don't think about when they get into the business. And that's the number one challenge, because once you have clients and you have money coming in, everything else you can solve because you can hire people out to do it, or you can learn how to do it. But you have to have business, and that's the number one challenge.
So is there a common trait that successful agents have?
Yes, absolutely. The trait is, first of all, consistency. Consistency is absolutely number one, because even if you pick something that doesn't work and you're consistent with it, you'll figure out that it doesn't work, and then you'll move on to something else. And so the agents who start one thing for 10 minutes and it doesn't work and they move on to something else, they lose steam and they don't follow through. So they can't test what they're doing and they can't stick with something long enough to see results. So consistency is absolutely number one, and it gets applied to everything that you do.
I completely agree. And that leads into my next question. How do you get started with videos such as this?
How do I get started, or how does an agent get started?
How does an agent get started with videos?
Well, first you have to have a message. You have to have something to say. And this is number one, not just with video, but with blogging or with putting any kind of lead magnets or doing seminars. Whatever it is, you can't speak for yourself. Meaning you can't speak just because you want to hear your own voice. You have to have something to say. And when you have a message, then video is just one of the ways to get that message out there. So think about what it is that you want to say. And for me, the reason I got into video was because I had agents coming to me all the time asking the same questions over and over again. And I found myself sitting an hour or 2 hours with agents one-on-one, telling them these things. And I realized my time is much better spent if I record it so that everyone can watch it on demand on their own schedule, and then I can be freed up to go do other things. So if you have a message to get out, think about who your target audience is and think about what you want to say to them that's going to help them and why they would want to tune in and listen in this really, really busy, crowded field. And then just do it. Don't be afraid of what you look like. Don't be afraid of how you sound. You want to put your best foot forward, but progress is better than perfection. Just get out there and do it, and you will get better as you go along.
So what is the number one tip you give to agents who are stuck currently?
The number one tip, what?
You give to agents who are stuck currently.
Oh, who are stuck currently right now is to call 5 people a day. That's it. Touch 5 people a day, and not in a creepy way. Get out there and do something. And when you pick up the phone and you call, and I don't mean a text, and I don't mean an email, I mean you pick up the phone and you call another human being that you know and have a conversation with no goal in mind except for to make a connection. It not only gets you out there and gets you talking to people, but it starts shifting your energy so you're not sit there stuck behind your computer. And calling 5 people a day is something that I've been doing for years, and I still do every single day.
Excellent tip so far. And I'd like to ask, how do people know if real estate is the right career for them?
Well, real estate is sales, right? Most of the time it's sales. You can niche down into something that isn't sales. But to me, when I think about sales, a lot of people tend to think of sales as being pushy and they're scared and they don't want to do it. But when I think of sales, my definition is sales is service. Sales is problem solving. And if I know that I like to reach out and connect with people, other humans, and help solve their problems and serve them, and I have an interest in real estate, then I know that real estate is the right thing for me, because it's not trying to push something on someone. It's trying to ask them questions, figure out what the problem is and how I can serve them. And sometimes it's by transacting with them and selling them a house or listing their house. And sometimes it's by telling them how to refinance it so they could stay in their home. So when I think about it as problem solving or service, then I don't get choked up about doing it. And because I love real estate and all things real estate, I know that it's the right career for me. But if you need the stability and the certainty of a paycheck and structure, it might not be the right move for you unless you work for a salary position. And this is really important, is that most of us are independent contractors. We're entrepreneurs, and you have to have a really strong stomach. I liken being an entrepreneur to diving off the cliff and building the net on the way down. And if you don't have a stomach for that, then it might not be right for you. Or if you're still really interested in it, get yourself into a desk job with a salary, maybe a paid assistant or a paid showing agent. And then you can have both your stability and your love of real estate.
So what's the most common misconception about being an agent?
Is that you're having cameras follow you around and you're on HGTV, like that you're just going to walk in and say, here's the kitchen, here's the bathroom, and get a check for $20,000. It's not like that. And this is the important thing to understand, is that real estate transactions are most often the most expensive and emotionally traumatic sometimes experience of someone's life. And you have to know what you're doing. You have to hold their hand, educate them, and take them through the process. And it's not always all fun and games. You have to work really hard. You have to know what you're doing. And there are going to be days when you wake up and you're just feeling unemployed, because every day we wake up unemployed. And you have to set yourself a schedule and a structure in order to be successful.
So as an agent, how do you stay positive when people aren't buying?
Well, because I don't just work with buyers. So that's the thing, is I look at it as sales as service. So how do I stay positive is I keep reaching out to my 5 people a day. And honestly, when nothing's going on, I'll increase that number, because I truly believe in manifestation and the laws of attraction. And when my frequency is higher because I'm doing things energetically that are positive, it's going to bring positive things to me. And so when the market is slow or when nothing's going on, or I hear crickets from my sales agents, they're not doing anything, I actually ramp it up more, because not only does it make things happen, but it makes me feel better and more positive. And that's how you stay happy. That's how you stay positive. Positive begets positive.
So what are some tips in closing a deal?
Tips in closing a deal is always think of sales as service. Always think of sales as service. Be interested, not interesting. So you're not trying to force someone to buy something. You're trying to help them. And when you always are led by something greater than money, when you're always led by helping someone, by sales as service, then the deals are going to close naturally, because you're going to listen to someone. And it doesn't matter which property they buy. It matters that they trust you, they know you, and they like you, and that they work with you, and that you're able to help them through this process. And that's how we get to closings.
Now that you have the SurePoint and the city offices, does a big city make it easier to be successful in real estate, or a little harder? What's your take on that?
Well, I've been in the city for a really long time. I've lived in town 30 years and I've had my real estate license. So I have a really wide network of people. And it's interesting you say that, because coming down here, even though I have a house here, I don't really know people. This is my place to come down and kind of hide out. So I'm really starting from scratch, and I'm doing the things that I'm teaching agents to do, which is go out and preview properties, go out and meet people. I joined a gym so I could talk to people at the classes, and I've gotten leads that way. And so for me, I've found a niche, which is taking my city folk that want to buy vacation properties down the shore, and they don't know anyone down here. And I've helped people figure out how to unlock the equity in their home so that they can buy a property down here, or house hack. So as far as being in a big city or a small town, it's all the same as far as reaching out and talking to people. The key is to be interested in them and see how you can serve them, and find a niche that you can really work so that people know you're the go-to person for that thing.
What do you do when an agent chooses the wrong broker?
Oh, it happens all the time. I tell people that there's no Tinder for brokerages, and I wish
Swipe
there
right,
was.
swipe left.
Right? I wish there was. And the thing about choosing the wrong broker is that it's okay to do that, because sometimes you don't even know what's important to you until you start working somewhere and realize it's the wrong fit. So the first thing is give yourself some grace, let yourself alone, and it's okay to move, and you have to go where it's the right fit for you. So the key and I'm a broker, but I'm an agent at heart. I was an agent for a lot of years before I was broker. And here's the thing. You need to concentrate on building your own business, not your company's business, because you could leave at a moment's notice, either by choice or by force. So keep your client list, keep your contact, all your contacts, even if you enter them into a CRM at your company. Use your own email address if possible instead of the company email address.
I
Keep
agree.
your cell phone number so that you can take people with you, and you can be flexible and free to go move at a moment's notice.
Can an agent be successful part-time?
Yes. People say they can't, but they absolutely can. And that's the key to building your real estate business organically, because if you compartmentalize your life and you have to dedicate 3 hours a day to cold calling, 2 hours a week to door knocking, reading scripts, and all the things that people tell you you have to do to build a business, no, you can't be part-time. And furthermore, you can't have a life, because by the time you get home and start your second shift, especially as women, because even in 2021, we're still usually the default parent, housekeeper, errand runner, doctor appointment setter, and so on. And as women, especially, if you compartmentalize your life and you do all the cold calling and lead gen, then you come home and you do your second shift. There's no time for a life or a book or a bubble bath. But if you talk to people and think of sales as service and intertwine your real estate business with your life, you can do that while you're working your full-time job. You can do that while you're on the soccer field or when you're at the book club. And that's the beauty of building your business organically, is that you absolutely can do it part-time, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't.
So what can an agent do for marketing with no money?
All kinds of things. Talk to people. You can go out and talk to people. And when you learn the skills of conversation and you learn how to turn the spotlight on the person you're trying to serve, you will realize that there are deals all around you. Because the really cool thing about being in real estate is that everyone needs a place to live. Therefore, everyone is a potential client. We're not selling widgets to the military. There's more than like 5 people who need our services. So if you just go about your life and you talk to people and you listen to people, you will develop clients everywhere you go. And that is what's so amazing and beautiful about being in real estate.
These have been some really solid words of wisdom. I mean, some of the things that you have said, I say almost on a day-to-day basis to my team and my staff. If we
We're both
wanted to,
wise then.
well, the continuous and consistent, like all these little bells and whistles I'm hearing is what I say on a day-to-day basis with everybody in my circle, my power team. So I really resonate with your passion. And I wanted to know, how does somebody that either is an aspiring real estate agent, somebody that maybe think about getting their license in real estate, or a real estate professional or consumer, how do they set up a consultation with you? How do they reach out to you with you and your staff to team up in their directions?
Awesome. So I have so many different ways that I can help people, from consumers to agents and everywhere in between. So the best place to start is to message me on Instagram or on Facebook, and then we can talk about what your specific needs are, and I can try and help you get there. So my name, Janis Benstock, at Instagram, same on Facebook. You can reach out to me that way. You can always also email me, hello@janisbenstock.com, and just find me. Whatever your channel is, I'm everywhere. I'm omnipresent.
Your brand, which I appreciate, because I tell everybody to own their domain, own their email, because you never know when you're making changes. They can always find you with your brand. And I really want to thank you for coming on to Real Estate Niches this morning. It's refreshing, the answers, the Q&A that we went through. Never realized how dynamic you are, and now I know you're even more dynamic than I've met you in person. And from this video, it's really, the podcast really has brought out a lot of the words of wisdom that I like to hear from a real estate professional. I want to thank you for coming on to Real Estate Niches this morning. We're going to cut and edit this video podcast to provide to your network and ours, and hopefully there'll be some benefits for everybody that listens in. I want to thank you for your time, Janis. I want you to have a wonderful time down there in Ocean City.
Thank you.
And take care of yourself. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. This is Joe Scarice, your mortgage lending specialist with Yardell Perkins of the Real Estate Niches podcast. Everybody have a great day and be well. Thank you, Janis.
Thank you. See you guys.